Morning vinyl community, it's Steve again, and it's time for another video of my latest buys. Some of it came from a local charity shop, and a bit unexpected. And in fact, they're CDs, they're not vinyl. And the rest of the vinyl has actually come from a shop in Birmingham called the Diskery, which is reputed to be England's oldest record store. So here goes. And those records came from like the pound, the cheap rate. So here goes. Without further ado, I was in my local Scope charity shop. He's listed off chance on the vinyl. I did buy a couple of items there a couple of weeks ago, and I saw these CDs. They weren't even in like the CD box. They were just out there, and they looked pretty much new. And I thought I'd have a closer look, and I was mildly surprised with what I found. I just couldn't really say no. So first up, it's the psychedelic sounds of the 13th floor elevators. This is a 2 CD set, which was reissued in 2010 on Charlie Records in the UK. So this contains like the album and some reading this, some cuts done from the sessions at the time. This is a very good buy because it was limited edition, and I was quite surprised, see something like this. So, I couldn't say no. 13th floor elevators, Rocky Erickson. I don't really know too much about him. The guy at works told me a little bit of story how Rocky got detained. Basically, he got put away in a mental institute because of drugs, which sort of broke the band up. They have been back together recently, surviving members. So it's quite fascinating, and I'm definitely going to check out more of this and Rocky Erickson because it sounds like he's quite interesting guy to listen to. Also in there was one of these box sets of 5 CDs. It's Jefferson Airplane and basically their first 5 albums. Well, the 5 albums are in the box. Jefferson Airplane Takes Off, Seristic Pillow, After Bathing at Baxter's, I can't read this, Crown of Creation, and the final one, Bless Its Pointed Little Head, which was the live album. And this only cost me £2. Again, pretty new, pretty pristine. Enjoyed listening to it. If I was to buy these on vinyl, it would cost me an arm and a leg. So I think, sometimes, just look at it and think, oh, these are not in bad nick. I'll get hold of these. Also in the CD, there was this by Procol Harum, which is basically the first 2 albums, Procol Harum and Shine On Brightly, on sets. And again, this was £1, and it's basically the first album. I know on the first Procol Harum album they put some bonus tracks, which is basically the White Shaded Pale and Homburg, which are the first 2 singles, and enjoyable listen. I'm certainly going to check out some more. Again, if I was to buy the albums, it cost me a fortune. Christmas is coming; that's got to pay for it. It's got to be paid for. So, sort of you can only limit yourself to what you can afford. Moving on to the records, I went to Diskery. Now, Diskery is just off Birmingham city centre, and it deals with second-hand records. It doesn't sell new records, I don't think. I didn't see any, but it's huge. They do all sorts. You can get all sorts, old singles, blues, jazz, soundtracks, compilations, and they section it out to. In each section, you got your cheap racks, and then you got your normal racks where you get your normal stuff. Very friendly place to go to. You do get offered a cup of tea there and a biscuit if you're browsing long enough. So it's you ever in the Birmingham area in the UK, worth checking out. You'll be surprised what you can find there, and the staff are very friendly and knowledgeable. So the first album I picked up, and this is sort of like replacing a copy I'd already got. Joan Armatrading, Walk Under Ladders. The copy I got doesn't play very very well. It's a much better copy. I love Joan Armatrading. I think she's one of our most underrated singer-songwriters. Very big at late 70s, early 80s. Sort of dropped off towards the end of the 80s. Re-established herself as a blues artist now. I just love her songs. It's somewhat intimate about her songs. Very exposes herself. So much tracks on here. My favourite tracks: "I'm Lucky," "When I Get It Right," "The Weakness in Me," "No Love." These are just great songs. She's a great songwriter, and I put her under as a national treasure. A couple of weeks ago, I brought the Bee Gees' Greatest, which was dealt with the 70s. So I found this, Best of Bee Gees, which is their 60s stuff. And this has got all their early hits. "I've Got to Get a Message to You," "Words," "I Started a Joke," "Massachusetts," "To Love Someone," and "New York Mining Disaster 1991. I'd actually prefer this period of the Bee Gees. Very melancholic tunes. If you have, one thing I would recommend, if you haven't listened to it, there was a box set put out in the UK on Robin Gibb's solo stuff, and I listened to it on Spotify. And if you can find it on Spotify or Apple Music and have a listen to it, it's worth checking out. Some really good stuff on there. Electric Light Orchestra, A New World record. Jeff Lynne's having a bit of a renaissance at the moment. He's put back together Electric Light Orchestra. He played the Legend slot at the Glastonbury Festival this year. You can't argue. Great tunes. He's a great songwriter as well as a great producer, and I think that comes across. The album's got Telephone Line, Rock Aria, Living Thing, just classic singles in itself. And then he did a revamped version of "Do You," which was recorded by The Move, re-recorded when he was in The Move. Originally, I think it came out in red vinyl. This is just black, but it's, again, another corking album. I can't recommend, if you haven't listened to any Electric Light Orchestra, and I suspect you have, you check it out. You just getting to his peak, where the next album, Out of the Blue, sort of was his peak. Somebody that hit their sales peak was Robert Palmer with this album, Riptide. It was his last album for Island Records, because it was so successful, because it had Addicted to Love on it, and Addicted to Love was a #1 hit in America. It was top 10 in the UK. I think pushed by that iconic video with him and the female backing band. Because he sold so well, EMI wafted him a check, big fat check in. He went off to leave Ireland, join EMI, which is a shame, because he'd been on Island Records ever since he was in Vinegar Joe with Elkie Brooks, and so they sort of nurtured his career. As I said, this represented his peak, his commercial peak. It's a good album, actually. I Didn't Mean to Turn You On was the other big single off there. I mean, I've got Clues, which I do prefer. Maybe this is a bit too Formula 80s sound for me, but it's still a good album. Robert Palmer, sadly missed. He passed away in 2003. It's one of those artists that probably you look back more fondly than probably you did at the time. Talking about artists that I love, my favourite band of all time, Rush. I managed to pick a copy of Presto up quite cheaply for a few quid in there. It's got Show Don't Tell. They're coming towards out of the keyboard. The rock started to come back in. I think in the 80s, I think they lost. The keyboard sort of overtook the guitars a little bit. But saying that, the reason I do like Rush is because they don't play safe. They'll do some things that are different, and I think the 80s stuff is worth checking out. It may not have the iconic stuff like 2112 or Xanadu or the Trees. But some great tracks. Show Don't Tell I've mentioned. I love Red Tide as well on this. I just think it's just a good album. It's a good album by a great band. Another favourite band of mine, Squeeze. This is their singles compilation. Now, I'm going to have to look for a replacement copy because I was warned that this was not much copy. Did play me it and it crackled a bit. And when I played it here, it was awful. But for £1, what do you expect? So, but I like Squeeze. The singles, they've made some classic singles in the late 70s, early 80s. Take Me On Yours, Cool for Cats, Up the Junction. Another Nail in My Heart, Is That Love? The classic lineup with Jules Holland in as well. Yeah, Squeeze. Again, I'll class them the national treasure. Still going. Did an album out last year. I think something quite English about them that I like. I'd label that with XTC as well. And finally, picked up October by U2, their second album. It's sort of built up on the momentum of the first album, Boy, and it's got on there Fire and Gloria on there. Gloria opens the album. I think it's just one of their most great songs. The way it just opens and builds up. And you could see they were a band that you could feel they were a band that were moving in the right direction at that time. There was something about them. Yes, Bono can be a bit sanctimonious at times, but hey, he's got a platform to say something, and I think I think his heart's in the right place. Next album, War, came out, and that sort of really broke him in the UK, and really sort of maintained their what's the word I'm looking for? Momentum in America, because they were very popular in America when Boy came out. Yeah, good album. It's worth checking out. Yeah, some tough tracks on there, but they're moving in the right direction. I think there was also more of a spiritual theme to this album. I think, apart from Adam Clayton, all the band members had some sort of like religious leanings, particularly at that time. I think there was rumours that that people may have left to follow more their religious following. So that is the purchases for this video. Thank you for the comments and the subscribes. Now up to 7. Hey, getting there slowly. I do appreciate people that take the time out to view, because there are so many videos out there to watch. Probably better videos than what I'm producing, but I do appreciate it, and feel free again to subscribe and put your comments on. So until the next video, take care, have a good day, keep listening to music and keep smiling.